Rust.
Rust. Bane of woodworkers everywhere. Try and prevent it as you might, you know it's an uphill battle. So perhaps your tools have seen better days. Or maybe you've picked up some antiques you'd like to restore. How do you remove the rust? Today I'd like to introduce you to the product that we think is the best on the market for doing just that. One of the things I love about this product is that it's completely non-toxic, biodegradable, safe for your hands and eyes, and reusable. It comes in 1 litre or 5 litre containers ready to use, so that all you'll need are your rusty tools and a container to pour it into. Let's get started. So I've got the tools here that I'd like to restore first. Now I've also got a pair of gloves. While the product itself is not toxic and won't harm your skin, it never hurts to wear a pair, even if it's just to remember not to suck your thumb or rub your eyes. We've also got a scrubbing brush. I'm going to use this just to remove loose dirt and debris, more so than trying to scratch off any rust itself. Now that done, we'll give them a quick rinse just to remove any of that dust that I'd loosened. And now we fully immerse the tools in the Evapo-Rust. And that's it, we leave them to soak. For light surface rust, this might only be an hour or two of soaking, but for heavier rust, it could be up to 24 hours. Now you can give your tools a second bath if they require it, but let's just see how we go after a couple of hours. I'll come back and check on these. So that's been a couple of hours now, and I'd like to check how things are going. If I think they need a little longer, I'll probably pop them back in and leave them overnight. So you can see on this particular blade, it's done good work on most of it, but I think there is still a little bit more to go there. So I'm going to pop the blade back in and leave that for longer. But let's check another tool while I'm here. That's pretty impressive after just a couple of hours. You can see that the corrosion, which looked quite extensive on the shank, is completely removed and just left with a dull grey coloration. So that's done. I'm going to add the rest of these tools here in overnight and see how they look tomorrow. In fact, this blade, because it's so badly corroded, I'm going to do an experiment and just pop it in on the end so I can clearly see the difference. I'll do a full clean after. So I'm pretty pleased with those results, but what about something far more challenging? Some time ago, my house flooded, and apart from losing a lot of equipment, I ended up with a crate full of significantly rusty clamps and vices. Now I really didn't want to throw these out because they were some of the best clamps and vices I had. I put them aside hoping that there would be a solution to bring them back from the dead. Today I'm going to put that to the test. Now I fully expect this to take at least 2 sessions, full immersions for perhaps 24 to 48 hours, because, I mean, that's serious corrosion. But let's see how we go. I'll start today by dropping them in a bath and leaving them for 24 hours. So again, we're going to start by giving them a little bit of a clean to remove any loose material and dirt before we immerse them into the bath. So I don't quite have enough to fully submerge those items. So what we're going to find out is how it goes on the parts that are submerged and see what we've got tomorrow. Alright, so 24 hours later now, I'm pretty keen to see where we're at. So the first thing I'd like to check is the saw blade, which I was doing a before and after experiment with. Yep, as we can see, we've got quite a corrosive surface here, albeit superficial, and here, just the residues of the rust having been removed. If I were to give that a quick clean now, the difference between the rusty section is quite apparent. Now that saw blade was a good indicator on what this product is capable of, and the rest of the tools in this bath look really good too. I'll get them out shortly. What I'd really like to check is the products we sat for 24 hours that were much more heavily coated in rust. Awesome. As you can see here, we've still got our rusty surface that wasn't submerged, while the rest is now rust-free and can be cleaned up. That's fantastic. That vise is now back to a functioning condition. I'll just flip it over, let it soak for 24 hours on the other side, and we'll be good to go. You might remember how this one looked before it went in. The fact it's that clean now is testament to the product's capability. And this one here, well, that's a really good indicator. You can see heavy corrosion is still above the surface level of the liquid, but below, we're back to bare metal that's protected and had all the rust removed. Clean up, and that's going to be functional again. I'm very impressed with those results. So now we're going to check the blade that I put back in yesterday from the antique plane. And that blade has come up so clean, I can clearly read that it is Sandbury Tool Co. warranted, which I couldn't even see for the rust yesterday. I also threw some of the other tools in. You can see here, cabinet scraper, again, now completely free of rust, ready to go back into service. Now I should also mention that Evapo-Rust is thermosensitive. By that I mean the cooler the ambient temperature, the slower the process to remove the rust is. The warmer it gets, the faster it works. Don't forget, Evapo-Rust is completely reusable. So this container here, I'll simply mark on it what it is, put the lid on, and put it aside for my next tool that's rusty. Eventually, the solution will become saturated and become less effective. It's at that time you want to get yourself some new Evapo-Rust. Now overnight I threw a few other tools into the same solution. The results are fantastic. But what I particularly wanted to bring to your attention was the fact that it does not impact adversely any other material. This chisel was completely submerged, so now it's not only rust-free, but the plastic handle is untouched. Likewise, these needle nose pliers. The pliers were quite heavily corroded. Now they're rust-free, but the rubber and the plastic of the handles are completely unaffected. Now it's been another 24 hours since I turned the tools over that couldn't be submerged in one go. We're going to check them out now to see how they've gone. As you can see, that thick coating of rust that was present, and it's all but gone from the tool. So if you remove your tools from the Evapo-Rust solution and don't rinse it off, it will in fact provide up to 2 weeks of rust prevention. You will, however, want to follow up with another product such as Rust Block to give it longer term security against rust returning. So I think the results here speak for themselves, and it's why every workshop should have some Evapo-Rust. Next stop for us, protecting them for the future. Rust Block. I'll catch you then.